everyone. My name is a theme park evangelist. Well, this is officially take two of my history of the theme park evangelist YouTube series. I just suddenly realized this blanket is in my shot, and I don't need that. So I'm not even lying. I was doing this earlier, and I kept getting notifications up on my screen, and I was like, I don't need to see this, and I kept trying to close it, and while I was trying to close one of them, I accidentally clicked on it, and in the process of doing that, I ended up accidentally ending the vlog. Now, I will admit, I was going pretty fast through the entire vlog because I knew it was on a time crunch, and I knew I had to be at work by 3 o'clock. And I still hadn't brushed my teeth or even gotten dressed for work yet. And it was already getting on to 2 o'clock. And I was like, crap. But don't worry, I still made it on time. Actually, I still clocked in a minute early. So I'm trying something new right now. I have my laptop on the table in front of me, so that way you can see all of me, and that way you don't have to worry about the laptop just constantly getting banged around in the camera, getting banged around, all that. I apologize about the fact that I'm in my pajamas, but it is 1 o'clock in the morning, and also I'm officially off for the rest of the month, so I'm going to take advantage of it. Actually, tomorrow Katie's coming over, and we're going to play my Xbox, and she's going to cook dinner. And then on Wednesday, I'm going to go see, whatever we call it, Venom. So I'm looking forward to that. And then Halloween, I am not going trick-or-treating, but instead I'm going to go do karate and who knows what else I'm going to do. And then I'm going to go back to work again on Friday morning. Normally I can eat the continental breakfast, but that morning I am going to pack my lunch just because I am on the front desk that morning, and I don't want to take any chances of not packing a lunch and not getting anything, especially with me already getting off at 1 o'clock. So I'm just going to go ahead and pack something just to be on the safe side. If I eat it, I eat it. If I don't, I don't. If I don't eat it, then I just, take it home, put it back, and put it away. If I eat it, then it is what it is. I'm probably going to try to get over the continental breakfast and see what's left. Even if it's just eggs, I'll eat it. That's not a big deal. It's not like I'm not going to get it on Saturday anyhow, as I'm working in the laundry room on Saturday 8 to 4:30. Next week, I don't get free breakfast whatsoever because I'm just doing the front desk 3 to 11, Wednesday through Saturday, so I'm not going to complain. So, still got the place to myself, not going to complain about that, and somehow I got next Monday and Tuesday off, and then of course I had to, which next Tuesday is election day, just so you guys know, and then I had to request Sunday off because of the fact that I'm actually going to go out of town for a little trip of Katie. So we're going to go to a wedding show, and we're going to go and check out some whatever you call it, like really interesting venues and whatnot. But I booked us the hotel that the wedding show is actually going to happen at Saturday night. We're going to spend the night and do the wedding show on Sunday, and then going to go to Kings Island on Sunday. Speaking of Kings Island, let's go ahead and let's take those next 5 minutes to go ahead and go into my upcoming vlogs for the rest of the month into early next month. So, first of all, tomorrow I'm going to go ahead and tomorrow being Tuesday, that is, and technically it is Tuesday, but it's 1 o'clock in the morning, so it's like, anyway, I'm going to take this opportunity to pre-film my, college days vlog for the week. The reason for that is because Wednesday evening, I am going to community group, and I'll probably be back late, and, I may or may not feel like vlogging when I get home. I'm not saying I won't, but I'm not saying I will either, if that makes any sense. So I figured I would just go ahead and come back here and basically play around. If I get back early enough, I feel like doing DoorDash, I might do like an hour or so of DoorDash, and that's about it. I don't know yet, but considering community group will probably go on until about 9 o'clock at night, and I'll probably end up going back to my parents' place anyway and praying with Katie, and then leaving there about 10 o'clock. Who knows what will happen. So I might end up doing DoorDash on my way home, but the point is I will probably be home about 11 o'clock at night after everything is said and done, and I just figured I may as well go ahead and vlog my college days vlog tomorrow, being Tuesday, and just have it scheduled for Wednesday evening. And on top of that, Wednesday is the day I'm going to go see Venom anyway. So Wednesday is going to be a pretty busy day. Tuesday, on the other hand, is going to be a more chill day. So I figured tomorrow would be perfect. And then Thursday, nothing is going on whatsoever, so not going to worry about that. And then with that being said, let's go on ahead and go into Saturday. So yes, even though I'm working, Lord willing, depending on my energy, and right now the weather seems to be cooperating, but I am checking it every day. After Katie and I go to Kenwood and go get my free slice of cheesecake for my birthday, and which we're going to share, by the way, and then we go to the hotel, get everything checked in, start the vlog, the Hilton vlog, that is, and then we go to Red Robin and have dinner together. If I'm not tired, and if the weather is cooperating and all that fun stuff, I am planning on going over to Kings Island that night for a couple of hours and vlogging Halloween Haunt, and then going back to the hotel afterwards. Since it's already that close anyway, I don't have to drive all the way back to Florence or even Dry Ridge. I literally only have to drive like 5-10 minutes, and that's it. I mean, I've never had it that close. And then the next afternoon, after the bridal show, Katie and I are going to head over to Kings Island for sure, and we're going to vlog the final day of Tricks and Treats, which is hilarious because of the fact that it's our very first Tricks and Treats vlog for the year, but it's also the final one for the year too, so kind of funny how that works out, but you know how it is. And then starting the week of my birthday, my 31st birthday, be on the lookout for Christmas vlogs. I am going to start filming them that week, so I'm not 100% sure when officially my very first Christmas vlog is, but it will be sometime that week. I know that week's going to be a little crazy because I've been invited to the AIG staff Christmas party the day after my birthday by my roommate, and then 2 days later, that evening, I'm been invited to another bridal show. Trust me, these bridal shows are going to keep coming up because I'm getting married in less than a year, and Katie was already upset with me for missing one, and she doesn't want me to miss anything else. And my managers might start harping at me and going, why are you taking so much time off? It's like, okay, well, first of all, my roommate invited me to a staff Christmas party at his job on Tuesday. And then secondly, my fiance is chomping at the bit about me going to these bridal shows with me getting married in less than a year. and she's already upset with me for missing one. I admit it, that was my own fault, but I shouldn't by rights miss any more. And her, um, whatever you call it, bridesmaid is also upset with me for missing it too, when I should be attending these things, being the groom. And my managers really cannot argue with that one. But at the same time, I also understand I'm trying to save up for this wedding too. So it's a hit or miss thing. And it's not like we're really busy right now either. So it's just called I just work when I can, and knowing that I only can work 4 days a week right now. Anyway, it's already almost at the 11-minute mark. So as you guys see on the the top of your screen, it clearly says that I'm going to be discussing my most recent Central Florida trip that I took I took back in February 2024. So I'm not going to dwell on every single little thing, but I did want to tell you guys the story behind the entire trip, since I didn't really go into it, and now that I have a little bit more time, I can go a little bit slower than I was trying to do earlier. Like earlier, I was like going boom, 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 and now I can take a little bit more time. So first, I wanted to share with you guys that I was working at Perfect North Slopes this past winter. So I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't even know anything about Perfect North, let alone did I even get told about Perfect North until it was too late. Straight up. I was like, wait, there's a ski resort around here? Because I was starting to look for winter jobs. Like, what am I going to do during the winter? I've never had that problem before. And, I was told about the ski resort, and I looked to see what they had available. And the only thing that looked remotely interesting was chairlift operations. And I was like, well, I might as well just give it a try. I mean, I really didn't want to do chairlift operations. I thought about doing the tubing park. In some ways, I wish I had, but I was like, well, I really need the hours. So I was like, I literally just needed full-time hours, and that was the only thing that really would have worked for me. I'm sure the tubing park probably would have done it for me, but I didn't know that at the time. I was new to the ski resort, so I applied for this job, and I met with Taylor, the manager at the time, and it was definitely not what I expected it to be at all. And just skipping over that, so I started working there, and at first I was making a crap ton of hours. I was making at least 40 hours a week, if not more, and I was working these 8+ hour days. I could even do doubles if I really wanted to. It's like, that's okay. And I mean, there were times when I was doing over 8 hours. Sometimes I was doing a little less. I got paid for all of my breaks, which was awesome. I think I was making up to 8.5 hours a day. I mean, not even joking. And that's even at $13 to $14 an hour. And that's their pay rate, which is not terrible, but it's not great either. It's kind of like, eh. And I was like, well, this isn't, terrible for a ski resort. I mean, it's, extra money. I mean, I'm driving all the way out here, but they're at least keeping you all day. I mean, I can't complain. So I got finally near the end of my trip, end of my time there. And when it's getting time to end, when they're starting to talk about their end of the season party, and when most of the good people have gone on, like whether they've left for the season or whether you can tell that like, the snow is melting. Like every single day, I could tell it was getting closer, and finally, like the day before I was supposed to leave, I was down at the Orange Gate, and I got this call from my doctor's offices. I was like, wow, I'm like way out there. I mean, this property is huge. I mean, we're talking at least 100 acres, if not more. And I answered, and I heard clearly my receptionist on the other end of the line letting me know my doctor just at the time decided to cancel my doctor appointment tomorrow morning. And I was supposed to go see this guy just within 2 hours of me leaving for Florida. And I was like so disappointed. I was like, are you kidding me? But I mean, I tried to come up with another arrangement. Nope, nothing. So I never got to see him again. That was it. I hadn't seen him since I literally tripped and fell on I slipped and fell on ice. Not even a month ago, and I was glad I at least saw him then. But even then, it was only in there for like maybe 5 minutes, and then I left because he said there was nothing he could do for me, and I never saw him again. I was like, what? What? Really? Excuse me, sorry. Anyway, so I basically was like, well, I guess that's it then. So my last day, I got everything packed up. Katie took me to the airport, saw me off. I went through the TSA like I normally would back before I started working at the airport, and I got on the train, took it down to Terminal A. Excuse me. Actually, if I remember correctly, I had walked, I think that day because I had time, and I was gonna go, and I went down to Chick-fil-A to go see if Jeremy was working, and I think I did go down to Chick-fil-A, and he wasn't working at the time because I had some extra time, so I decided to turn around and I went back to Terminal A, and I went and got my usual water, and I waited around until my flight got there, and there was only 60 of us on the flight to Chicago to Midway, so we got to spread. It was kind of nice. I got a whole row to myself, and then I flew down to Midway. I had like no money on me. I only had $20 from my dad just to borrow, just to get me by until I got paid. I was supposed to have gotten my stock dividend check on Wednesday, but because I made a error while I was doing my stock, not my stock, sorry, my no, I keep saying stock. I don't know why. I apologize. I meant to say because when I was doing my taxes, I actually made an error and I accidentally forgot to add on an additional number to my account number, and therefore TurboTax was forced to mail me out a paper check, and I had to wait a month and a half to get it, and it was the worst experience ever when I was buried and dead, and I was like, come on, man. So, yeah, fun times. But needless to say, I got down to Chicago and I got some water and I just chilled out. I waited 3 hours for my flight. Finally got on another plane, took that down to Orlando. TJ and Kay were already there waiting for me. And I had originally told TJ, wait at the 7-Eleven further down the road. Wait for me to tell you I'm out here. Then come get me. But TJ's not the most patient guy in the world. I'll tell you guys that right now. And TJ, being the dummy that he is, he goes around Jeff Fuqua Boulevard. And I tell him, really? Like, I just saw him drive by. And then he has to come all the way around. He goes, oh, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. So he has to come all the way back. And I get in the car and I told him right off the bat, okay, I want to go to Manny's. I know it's 8:30 at night, but I really want to go. And TJ, of course, thinking that he's the center of attention, especially when it's the week of his birthday, and even when David is there, it's all about him. And TJ starts belly aching about how he's got these coupons for free appetizers, which I should let you know, apparently Texas Roadhouse that he was talking about, just so you guys are on the same page as me, down on 192, closer to Disney World, gives you free coupons for appetizers every time you go in there. But TJ, of course, doesn't stop and think about that. And so he was bragging about that. Then he was, telling me, oh, I really want David to see me get put on the saddle or whatever, because he's been going over there celebrating his birthday lately, and he really wanted me to see that for himself, and I was like, okay. And he goes, oh, and you should film me doing this, and I was like, oh boy, what have I got myself into? So I said to TJ, despite the fact that I'm in the backseat, because apparently I get put on the back burner every time I'm around him, I'll make you a deal. We'll go to Texas Roadhouse tonight, under the condition that at some point while I'm here, you have to take me to Manny's. And he goes, okay, I give you my word. And I said, okay, I'm holding you to that. And he did, I promise. But anyway, so we got down there, and it was so good that when I won a $100 gift card from Perfect North for Texas Roadhouse, which I was told if I put all my ticket entries towards one thing, I would get it. The way Perfect North did it was for every hour that I worked during the winter, which was a lot, by the way, it would go towards one raffle ticket. And I won a lot of raffle tickets. And I said, I'm betting it all on Texas Roadhouse, $100. Come on, bring it on. And when they came upon Texas Roadhouse, it was like entry 35 or whatever. And there was like 3 or 4 possible winners out of the hundreds that were there. And my name got called. I was like, yeah. Imagine me rising up in slow-mo. That's what I was trying to do for you guys. Anyway, just wanted to tell you guys that for the fun of it. Just brought Perfect North back into the story for the fun of it. So back to Florida. So we got done with Texas Roadhouse. And TJ and Kay took me around Winter Haven, showed me all the changes that was going on, and they just thought it was the most hilarious because they want to see my reaction. I mean, yes, I was impressed. Lots of apartments being built, lots of hotels, restaurants, you name it. Winter Haven's changing every day. Went back to TJ's place, literally got maybe 6 or 7 hours of sleep, and we were already back up again. TJ managed to get us virtual queue for Cosmic Rewind for him, me, and Kay, because we took Kay with us. So we stopped at McDonald's for TJ and Kay. I wanted Wawa for breakfast, and I was kind of expecting TJ to do that, but no. TJ has to get McDonald's, and TJ is so picky that he has to get ketchup put on his food, and then even though Kay is sitting right next to him, no, he has to put the ketchup on himself while he's driving. And I was like, what are you doing, dude? It's like, I'm in the back seat. I'm physically capable of doing it. No, he's got to do it himself. And I'm just like, so anyway, I'm sitting there and just get me to Disney. That's all I ask. And in one piece, because Katie will murder you. Of course, Katie's not there to murder him, so she would have to do it verbally over the phone, or even get her parents involved to come down there, because that ain't going to be pretty if they have to come down there. And we finally get to Epcot. It was opening day at Flower Garden. Beautiful day, gorgeous weather. It was so nice. I would definitely relive that again. And we definitely did the Cosmic Rewind. And I was... every single time you get on that ride, there's always like one of 5 or 7 songs you can get, and I was like, please let it be Tears for Fears. Please let it be Tears for Fears. I was like, I'm not saying that's the name of the song. I was like, that's the name of the band I wanted to listen to. I wanted to listen to Everybody Rules the World. And the second that the lights started flashing, the lights turned blue on your left and right, and you started reversing, and you heard the music start playing, and it was like that split second that I heard the song, because I know my 80s music, and I heard Everybody Rules the World playing. You should have seen the excitement on my face, and you should have heard the excitement coming from my voice. I'm not going to reenact it for you guys. I was basically the equivalent of my brother at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, at the Rock Hall ceremony last Saturday night. It was pretty similar. That's how excited I was. I mean, for me, it was a combination between being on one of my favorite Disney rides and listening to one of my favorite 80s music songs at the same exact time. And That is what you call a happy David. So anyway, I get on this after I get done on this ride. Um, I spent most of the day filming Flower and Garden. You can actually watch this on YouTube anytime you want. I did a. I made sure I spent the entire day filming it. For dinner that night, I was actually really impressed. TJ, was very kind and treated me to a meal at Red Robin. So I don't remember offhand what I had for lunch. Um, I really don't. Um, I think I did have enough money for a public sub. I really wish I remembered what we did for lunch that day, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. All I know was we did go to Red Robin that evening for dinner, and TJ said, "Whatever, have whatever you want. It's on me." And I was like, "Really? Are you serious right now?" I don't know why I'm laying back. I look bigger than I really am, and trust me, I'm a big guy. And I apologize. I slouch a lot, especially when I'm tired. It's already 1:24 in the morning, and trust me, I do walk a lot, especially at work. So I'm not always being lazy, and I'm doing DoorDash right now too. So I'm not just sitting around this apartment doing nothing. I promise. Anyway, and the next day we excuse me, went to Universal together, and we took TJ's roommate Robert with us. And his roommate Robert is very interesting, and that's the best way to put it. But we did get to go do some of my favorite rides. Um, don't remember doing much in the Wizarding World, unfortunately, but I did get on the Mummy at least. I will at least say that's at least something. I don't remember doing a whole lot. I did get to go see what was going on with DreamWorks Land. I did get to go and vlog some of the Mardi Gras stuff, including the parade, so that was kind of nice. And also, the icing on the cake for me that day was I finally got to go see what the new Raising Cane's in Orlando was like. That is up in like a month prior, so that was kind of neat. So TJ and I split a meal, and it actually filled me up considerably. I was doing a lot of walking at Perfect North, so I was not eating a whole lot, and I honestly got full very fast. Sometimes, even now with how big I am, I do get full quickly. It really just depends. A lot of my problem right now is unless I'm working with the right person until Friday, I often don't always get my 30s. So then because I work second shift, I end up coming home at 11 o'clock at night and I'm still hungry. So I end up eating these massive meals that makes me so hungry because I've been eating since 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And by this point, it's been basically 12 hours since I've eaten last. And, my stomach thinks it's hungrier than it actually is. So I end up giving myself too much to eat, and then I end up regretting afterwards. Or another problem I've discovered is I'll stop at and get fast food for myself, especially with my DoorDash money, and then I end up discovering, oops, I really couldn't afford that. I mean, well, not like afford it financially, but with my stomach, and then I ended up sitting in my stomach all night like a dead weight, and then I ended up putting on weight that way too. So, still not as bad as when I was at the airport, but still bad enough that we need to figure something out because I'm glad that they're going to start enforcing us to have our breaks because 7 o'clock in the evening, no lie, or even 8 o'clock at night of having my 30-minute break, which the food that I pack is way better for me than going and having fast food on the way home, or even coming home at 12 o'clock in the morning after DoorDash for an hour and eating a Brobdingnag meal, which means Big A meal. It's something I got from the Big Bang Theory for the curious. So anyway, Friday I went back to Disney, but this time I went to the Magic Kingdom. And that day, Vanita got to join us, but not till the afternoon, because Vanita is very busy. Right now, Vanita and I are not on speaking terms, but that can easily be remedied. I've told both TJ and Kay if she's willing to apologize and stop telling Katie and I how to live our life, then I'll immediately forgive her and unblock her and start talking to her again. But right now, because she's being very difficult and she's basically being insistent that she does not accept how Katie and I want to live our life, then I really don't have anything to say to her, because at the end of the day, God is the only one we really have to answer to, not Vanita. A lot of the time you guys see me on YouTube, I'm usually wearing a Christian shirt because I like to remind everybody who I support, who I believe in, who I take my commands from, my answers. You know, he's the real boss, not President Trump, or even if Kamala Harris gets into the office for some reason, she ain't my final boss. She might be the one that's over this country, but at the end of the day, even if I get shot for it, God is still my boss. Like, my overall boss. A lot of the times when Katie and I pray together at night, you know, I always am thinking this way deep down inside. And a lot of the times, even when I go through life every single day, God is number one in my life, but Katie is number two. I love God more than anybody. I love God more than anything. But man, my love for Katie is very strong, but it never is going to overcome God's. My love for God, that is. Anyway, just a little food for thought for you guys. But I did love the fact that when I went to Magic Kingdom on that Friday, I got to go ride Tron again. So I got to ride two of my favorite Disney rides in 1 week. And on top of that, I rode Velocicoaster the day before, which is honestly my favorite Chris Pratt ride. Not even the Cosmic Rewind coaster, but Velocicoaster. I know, go figure, right? So yes, I definitely did well that week. I rode Cosmic Rewind, I rode Velocicoaster, and I rode Tron. 3 big rides in 1 week. Cannot complain. And I got to go do construction update on Tiana's, which was not open at the time. Now it is. So now I got to go back and go ride that. And trust me, that will be featured in the next Magic Kingdom vlog. I can guarantee that. Spoiler alert. That was a little louder than I intended for it to be. Other than that, I got to share the kitchen sink with TJ and Vanilla again that afternoon, which was very exciting. I hadn't done that in a hot minute. And got some pictures, and I have that on YouTube as well. And that evening, we went to Boma again for my 3rd time. So the very first time I went to Boma with my parents to celebrate a birthday. The second time I went with a Melissa that I used to feature on my YouTube channel. She took me for my birthday. Like, I don't remember, a year later or whatever. Yeah, I think it was a year later. And then her original intention was to invite the Tim Tracker and Jen to my birthday party. And get this, they were going to come. I actually heard Jen on the phone. She may not have been on speaker or anything, but I could hear Jen Tracker clear as day on the phone. So I knew Melissa was not lying. And I heard Jen saying, "I'm so sorry, I hope he understands. I really wish we could come, and we would have had a great time. I was just like, I mean, could you imagine me having dinner at the Tim Tracker? That would have made my life. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. I had this whole plan originally to YouTube. I do like a Q&A session, and Tim literally knew what I was thinking ahead of time, and he would put his foot down. He was like, "Tell David immediately, or the theme park evangelist, whatever, no cameras whatsoever." I think he still knows who I am because he doesn't usually respond to me on YouTube because he knows who I am, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not going there." I got my own YouTube channel. You got your own YouTube channel. Let's just keep it that way. And I'm like, that's fine. Whatever. It is what it is. Even when I'm living here in Kentucky, he still don't want to go back. He probably don't even remember me at this point. I still remember him. How could I forget somebody with over 900,000 subscribers? I mean, come on, man. So, yeah, I did go on YouTube. I got to show the entire spread. I got to show what my plate looked like. Got to show celebrating TJ's 30th birthday. Everybody who showed up. So I thought that was kind of nice. And then TJ, of course, had to have some fun with the poll situation, and he had to push me into a poll. But I technically kind of egged him along, and I decided to push my own self into the poll for the. So he kind of pushed me towards it, but I pushed my own self into the poll. So just to clarify that. So the next day we went to, what was it called again? Frostbite, Ice Cream and Martin Frostproof. So it was me, TJ, and his roommate. His roommate was not doing well. So I was really trying hard to encourage him. I'm not going to say he was not doing well physically. He wasn't doing well mentally. Unfortunately, the poor guy had just gotten fired, and he was struggling financially. He literally was so desperate for money that he contacted a family member or friend down in the Florida Keys, and I think it was a family member, and he traveled down there once every 2 weeks and would live down there for a few days at a time for a few months, and was making $20 an hour just to do construction work on houses, on roofs specifically. And he would do that for hours a day just to make sure he could pay his bills. I mean, I've never seen anybody that desperate, and I thought I was desperate enough to just do DoorDash, but I mean, we're talking being desperate to a whole new level. I was like, wow. So, that was honestly the last time I really got to see this guy, because he knew he was getting ready to leave soon. So, yeah, we did go to lunch with him, and that was a really good time. He did enjoy it. He had never been there before, which is weird because TJ was like 10-15 minutes away from there. And that was the last time I'd been. And of course, nobody knew at the time, especially them, that a massive hurricane was going to be plowing through in several months. But nobody ever knows those things. Only God really knows. Until they actually happen, no human being out there knows what's going to happen until it actually happens. That's the best way to put it. But, God bless them for getting through that and getting right back on track as quickly as they did. And on top of that, they decided to make a huge announcement. Now they're accepting DoorDash. So I'm like, wow, well, that's cool. So not only did they recover from a hurricane quickly, but they decided to take a step forward. I'm like, hey. So that afternoon to the evening, we went out to Strawberry Festival. I wasn't as impressed with Strawberry Festival this year. I felt like it was exceptionally crowded. The only thing that even really stood out to me was the build your own strawberry shortcake, but even then they rose the prices. And then on top of that, not just the strawberry shortcake, like everything, the prices just got jacked up so much. I was like, what the heck? And I really can enjoy it between the prices and then TJ being a jerk as usual, especially that particular day. I don't know what was going on, but okay. So the next day was a much better day. I promise we're almost done. We were supposed to go to SeaWorld that day. It didn't happen. So I got up a little early and I decided, well, I'm just going to go ahead and watch church online because I have a good feeling we're not going to make it to church. And I got through the entire service, and this was back when a guy named Brian Fannon was still preaching there. I can't say why, but he no longer preaches there. But he's still a member, so that's a good thing. And I got done with that. I decided to quickly get ready, and I was glad I did too, because TJ literally got up and gave me like 10 minutes, and then he jumps in his van. He's like ready to go, and I was like, crap. So I get in his van, and we had to call Kay and let her know we were on our way out there. And we went and got Kay, and we went to their favorite hamburger restaurant in all of Polk County, which was in Winter Haven, next to Legoland, Florida, and the home of the former Perkins restaurant and bakery. Don't remember the name of the burger restaurant offhand, but it was really good. I filmed it all on YouTube. You can look it up. Everything I've been talking about is under my Central Florida vlogs, just for your information, or FYI. So then we got done with that, so I was like, well, I really want to go back to the Auburndale Flea Market. So we went down there, and TJ's car started acting up. And I decided, well, I'm just going to go ahead and call my parents. And they asked me how was church this morning. I said, well, I watched it online. I didn't make it in person. And I got a lecture from my parents. And TJ heard every word that was being said, but he can intentionally ignore them. He's like, I don't care. I'm going to do whatever I want. And I'm just like, well, of course you think that way. I'm not even going to say it. So then we got over to the Auburndale Flea Market. And that was kind of cool. I got to hold my very first baby gator. I didn't stay there as long as I expected because TJ was in a huge hurry at the time to get to SeaWorld. And both Kay and I talked him out of going to SeaWorld that day. At the time, Kay was working at a school the next day, and TJ really wanted both of us to go. But I talked TJ into going the next day with just me, and he goes, okay, fine. And I said, look at the weather. It's going to be much better tomorrow. And TJ goes, that's fine. So I said, well, let's just go ahead and go down to BJ's. Let's go get your cake and go get some stuff for dinner. And I'll go back to your place. And TJ's like, all right. So we went to BJ's, got his cake, got the rest of the stuff for dinner. TJ had already been simmering pasta sauce all day. So he didn't really have much to do. TJ was already planning on inviting Vanita over that night. Kay was already with us. I was already there, so we just were waiting on Vanita. And this huge storm showed up out of nowhere shortly before we got there. So, if I remember correctly, TJ did take me to Manny's that evening for dinner. And then he turns around and he makes pasta, which didn't make any sense to me. When he knew that we had already been fed, I was like, okay. I mean, if I remember correctly, that's exactly what had happened. But I think originally he was supposed to make the pasta on Saturday, unless that's it, unless that's what's happened or that happened. I don't remember now, but the point is, he had either done it on Saturday or Sunday. I think he did do it on Saturday, and that's when that massive storm showed up out of nowhere. And then Sunday we just went and got cake, but. Anyway, the point is, TJ did something stupid, and he ran inside of his house, and he goes, oh, I didn't want to get wet. even though he knew I was still out there, even and trying to get inside without getting wet, despite the fact that it's pouring. He knew Kay and Vanita were both outside trying to come inside without, despite getting the fact that it was pouring and not trying to get wet. But no, TJ had to leave us outside. So he left me to get them inside. And even when I confronted him about it, he goes, well, he goes, oh, you did. It's like, he doesn't care. He just cares about the fact that he didn't get freaking wet. That's all he really gives a beep about. So, sometimes I say beep in the placement of saying a bad word. Just so you guys know. Anyway, so yeah, that was the fun adventures about that weekend, but I did make it to Manny's on Sunday. I do remember that for a fact. I definitely do remember that. And I also can tell you guys safely that my SeaWorld vlog on the Monday was my best vlog ever. And I thought that was kind of weird that was my best vlog, despite the fact that I got a really bad phone call literally just within 5 minutes of going in there. And once again, did TJ care? No. In fact, if anything, TJ was being extra ridiculous because he knew he was about to lose me, and that's all he was even thinking about at the time. And all I was thinking about was the fact that I was going home to a broken down car, and I wasn't impressed with that whatsoever. I mean, who wants to go home to a broken down car? And then knowing I have to go find a new car. It's like, who wants to afford that? Who can afford that? Especially these days. So I go home, and I spent a month trying to find what the car I have out there right now, the SUV. And, the whole month of March was a nightmare. But by the end of the month, I did get my SUV, so that's all that matters. But, yeah, I had just gotten a call from AAA that morning saying that my car is going to cost up to $5,000 to get fixed. And I was like, and then just keep in mind that I started my vlog 5 minutes later. And nobody would have ever guessed, based on my vlog, that I had just gotten bad news. Because all that mattered to me was making sure you guys were entertained with SeaWorld, their 7 Seas Food and Wine Festival, and my first experience walking around the park with basically a platinum annual pass holder, and having the drink program on top of that. I mean, $5 for large drinks all day for free. So it was a one-time purchase of $5, and you get cups about this big, give or take. And you just keep getting new cups every like 10-15 minutes. And you get to choose whatever drink you want. And if you want water, they'll just give you free water in one of those cups. I was like, this is amazing. And then TJ took me into their annual pass holder lounge, and I was just as impressed by that. And I showed that on YouTube. I took a picture in there from my Facebook page. I was like, wow. And I got to go check out the new Sesame Street Lane. I mean, and also I did a construction update on Penguin Trek before. This was before it opened, by the way. So, I mean, despite the bad news I had gotten, that was still the coolest vlog. I had over 50 views, and I got a subscriber from that. I had this guy comment like, wow, that was really cool. Looking forward to more vlogs like that in the future. I wish I could do more vlogs like that in the future. I need to go back to SeaWorld, especially knowing that TJ works there, but is an annual pass holder there. So sadly enough, that was the end of the trip. That basically left me with leaving the next day. So I did go back to Disney Springs, and I did go do another YouTube video. I did go on the Disney Skyliner one last time, if I remember correctly, but don't quote me on that. And I'm very sure I did. I usually try to do it at least once a year. And I had to go into property control at least one time. And I had to go get a couple of things to take home. I had to make sure I get Katie her thermal detonator, but because I didn't want that to go on the carry-on and TSA mistake it for a weapon, and I got tackled to the ground like in airport security. It's a mobile game you can get on your phone. I decided, well, let's just go ahead and put in the suitcase. That way I don't take any chances. So I went ahead and packed everything up that morning. I tried to do some laundry. I went to Denny's and was one last time before I went out of business. Never would have seen that coming. So I'm glad I got to go when I did. Because now, who knows what they're doing with it. I don't even remember what TJ told me. And I basically hopped on a plane, and this time I flew into Baltimore. Now, here comes the icing on the cake with this. I was exactly 30 minutes away from my brother at one point when I was in Baltimore. Like, how cool is that? And I had a couple of hours, but because I didn't really have the money, I couldn't take an Uber out to him and go see him. But I was literally close enough I could have taken an Uber to him. And I still could have made it back on time. That's just how close I was. But it's here or there. And I knew I was close enough to him too. And I did some YouTubing right there in the airport. I went and showed everybody the Silver Diner that Katie likes to eat at. And I got back that night, and Katie picked me up from the airport. Actually, I had the biggest surprise when I got back. So I flew back in, and I was arriving at the same time that HR from AIG was getting back in. And on top of that, I come back in, and there was my good friend James there from AIG in a tux. And I was like, what? So at first I was because Katie greeted me right there at the door. Like, she was so close that her nose was basically touching it. I was like, wow, come any closer, huh? And then she surprised me with James. So James was actually waiting there for a couple of Australian young ladies. Not going to go into details or anything, but little did I realize this was foreshadowing of his future. And that's as far as I'm going to go with that. But I promise it's all for God's glory. Let's just say, long story short, James became friends with an Australian lady, and he is in the process of moving out there and becoming a full-time Australian missionary. I think this will be a really good opportunity and experience for him, and I'm very excited for him. I really can definitely see God using him out there for sure. But yeah, Katie took me home, and don't remember if I had to go back to work the next day. Actually, that's right. I was out of work until later on in the week when I went back to AIG for staff meeting. So I got to sleep in, but Katie had to work, so I definitely slept in hard. But it was, it's always that weird feeling coming back from being away, whether it's out of state, out of country. It's always so weird being back at first. But the important thing is, I literally got everything done I wanted to get done. Was I broke? Yes. Was I upset about it? Absolutely. Was I happy to get paid again? You better believe it. But the important thing is, I came back to to full-time hours. I created a lot of good memories. I got to do a lot of cool things. I even went back to the Eagle Ridge Mall again. There was a lot of things I may not have mentioned. I may not have mentioned everything in order. But there you go. There is the entire story behind my 2024 trip. Yes, I took a lot longer to go over this than I expected. If you managed to stay with me this entire 54 minutes and counting, then I am extremely impressed. If you only stayed this long just to cuss me out, then you wasted your time staying this long just to cuss me out. And I am so removing your comment because there is no reason for that behavior at all. So, or just to chew me out. So, with that being said, if you did stay this long just because you enjoyed what I did, even if you watched 20 minutes at least, if not less, or even up to 30 minutes, then thank you. Thank you for your being a subscriber. Thank you for your time. Thank you, people, for watching my vlogs. I will continue to try to post interesting and amazing content. I can't always guarantee every single one of my vlogs are going to be amazing. You're just going to have to bear with me. Everything just depends on money, timing, and everything else in between. But next year, I've got lots of traveling planned out as I got this wedding coming up. So next year is going to be a very exciting year, especially my YouTube channel turning 9 years old next year, and the following year is turning 10. So got to try to spice it up a little bit, make it even better over the next 2 years. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next vlog, Wednesday at 5 p.m. And always remember, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Have a great night. Peace out.